Please, go ahead. Anybody? No doubts?
Sir?
Yes.
So if there are custom frameworks, then there are not either public that what kind of framework they are made. When the framework is they are making a framework, so it will be like they put some part from a framework to their custom framework. So still can it be vulnerable?
So ideally, all the command and control servers that we see or behind and that are custom in nature, they utilize similar protocols. For example, they will utilize HTTP. So they will be utilizing it is written in C++, they will be utilizing plain HTTP. If they are communicating with DNS, so then there will be a DNS-based library, similar DNS-based libraries that will be utilized. So ideally, the command and control servers that are customized, they are customized for evasion, not for operations. So any underlying protocol remains same. So if you want to, for example, detect a particular capability or detect a particular command and control, let's not look into the evasion part, let's not look into the Yara part, let's try to figure out what kind of libraries they are using, how they are injecting those libraries, and those nitty-gritties that could actually be very hard for them to customize. Right? At the end, these are assembly languages, right? They have to be converted into assembly language so that your ARM or other processors should be able to execute that. Right? So if we try to signature those capabilities apart from only the univariate or bivariate correlations, we might land up into a situation wherein we are able to detect few of their custom capabilities as well. My answer would be yes, there are evasions that are happening on the customization parts, but yes, inherently the capabilities and protocols remain same. So if we can touch on to those dots, if we can touch on to those RFPs that we never studied, definitely there are a lot of things that could be developed and that could be developed. Yes.
Same OT security, we have very limited options. Like we cannot deploy endpoint protection solutions, there are very few options available which are protocol aware or somewhat they can be deployed at the endpoint. Plus, since most of the SCADA systems are PC based, so Windows is the only option that we have to go. So in that way, right now, till now, someone develops those EDR systems which are EDR based. We rely, say, for example, Prenix if it is a US chip, but still there are options like threat intelligence, then application control, change control. So if we deploy those products, can we attain a certain level of security?
So the way I look at this particular problem statement is that we have to choose between the less evil, right? We don't have options as per our needs. There are few vendors that are in OT for primarily gas-based caterers. These are the ones that are stabilized, and these OT environments have a significant impact if there is a downtime. So nobody wants to take a risk on a particular vendor which is new in the market. Then we have few Indian companies as well that are into OT security, but we do not rely upon them. These companies don't get a favor on making India just because that they are not very tested, right? So how I would approach this problem is build countermeasures around that. Countermeasures based upon, so for example, there is a remote access compatibility that Siemens gives. So for example, if any particular 2.5 as Arun has already explained, if you want to, for example, control a particular PLC or get access to a particular SCADA, there is a remote access protocol that Siemens provided. This particular remote access protocol could be also treated as backdoor because it is a direct connection of Siemens server to your system, which is inside particular 3.5, which is your industrial DMC. So, what are the kind of countermeasures we have? How many times we monitor that traffic? How many detections are there that we have written over that? And we have to also build a telemetry correlation engine of our own. That could be something that an Indian company, I don't know whether there is a product or not, but that could be a product that could read those telemetries and can flag any deviation, right?
Those products are there, so secure remote access tools are there, even asset inventory tools are there, which can protocol aware as even 61850 or other products, it can create asset innovative tools. Those multimedia products are available. The concern is only in the PD access ones.
I would say that we don't have option right now in the area, but there could be some level of detection that we could create simply by help or by looking at our DNS server, by looking at our traffics that is going on, and that could be something that we can write directly from Claude. Claude can actually write that particular thing. You don't have to look for solution, but yes, if there could be some company I'm not aware of, there could be some company that is already doing such telemetry happening about. And yes, exactly. I'm trying to say that seeing custom-made SIEM for your organization that has your own rules, your own behaviors that is currently executed within the environment, so that it can look into those deviations, something that I would suggest. And building countermeasures at every level, be it physical, be it onto the purview 1, purview 2, 2.5, 3.5, and 4 and 5 beyond. We have to have countermeasures everywhere. The way we have configured our gem servers, how we are maintaining that gem server, how we are making sure that our internal DNS is properly compromised, properly configured, how we are making sure that the red teaming activity that we are doing in India is particularly sufficient in the use case, how we are making sure that the PLCO, the SCADA systems are particularly non-vulnerable towards the post-market surveillance. Are we looking at the vendors that we have utilized? Are they compatible with the post-market surveillance? So we have to look into all of these, and if they are not, we have to go for countermeasures, such as going to have one firewall, have another sacrificial firewall, just in case of first firewall case. Don't utilize just, I would say, always kind of go with latest technology. Don't rely upon Windows XP, Windows 7 system. It is an operational expenditure that we need to look at. Try to modernize. That is something that I would say. It gives you a level of flexibility. Try to learn with the kind of attack that are inherently because what we have seen right now with the Russia and Ukraine war at times when the OT systems were primarily targeted, we can see that supply chain attacks was something that was really utilized. That was something that was utilized for during war situations, war situations. So in our country also, we might be facing such situations wherein there could be a possibility that the kind of Siemens software that we are utilizing or relying upon, they will try to mislead. So, and of course, there are other vectors. For example, in the countermeasure as we speak, there are vulnerabilities that are happening within GNSS. So in OT, we generally have those GNSS-based thinking that happens. So we have to also develop countermeasures on that. So that is something that would also require a national cybersecurity council to also look into it, how we are developing those things. But yes, of course, we have to choose the least possible.
I got one question or observation. You talk about the war, and this all started from the World War. And nowadays we are having a physical war is going to be finished. There will be a digital war also. If we are not having the virus war, digital war will come first. Do you think some kind of ethics playing in this game? People can do something, but they are not doing. Are ethics having some place in this? The man can do anything, but why they are not doing it? Is some role of ethics exist in that?
So how I see war is, so it has multiple dimensions, not just the ethics. It is also like making our thought process paralyzed by psychological warfare, making our decision fail by geopolitical influence, and making our research and development wings as lousy as possible by having financial implications that we are already seeing. So it is not just that the decision making, obviously, even if we start delving into going for a solution around how we should go about it, it will require a lot of back-end stuff that needs to be done. It should not be just that, okay, we have finances, we can go on development of the war. If we have particular R&D setup, we can start developing such like. I would say that we are right now in a paralyzing state. We are not able to develop the technology that we need to develop. Right now, as you have inferred, there are ways where the attack is going to happen. It is going to be hybrid. It will have humans attaining their superpowers by indulging into technologies that are kinetic as well as non-kinetic in nature. We'll be seeing attacks happening from kamikaze drones that are going to shoot down targets without us going physically available on those front lines. We'll be having, we'll be seeing wars that are biological in nature, nuclear in nature, definitely. But my observation with that is that it will start with a lot of policy change. It has to be on a level that okay, Israel is right now doing really great when it comes to cyber because at times when they required help, nobody was helping them. They developed their own capabilities. It's now our time to realize that nobody is going to come and save us. So we should start developing our own capabilities in offense as well as defense. So that is the major mind shift that needs to be happening. We should not be reactive rather than proactive. There are situations that are going to come which is tougher in nature. We have already seen the political war. We have already seen how twisted the geopolitics could be. We have seen the Venezuela Act, wherein it was a classic case of how an EW as well as cyber happened before the abduction took place, and there was zero footprints. There was no SATCOM that was possible while they were flying their F-35 and all, and there was no visibility. There was no radar that was working. Later on, it discovered that 6 years back there was a Chinese company that set up the whole radar, and they got to know that these radars are already conscious and they have places. So we need to look into our systems as well. So it is the bigger run. I would say that it's something that is not as easy as it seems.
Like in Mahabharata, they had a rule कि शाम सूरज बंद हो गया तो लड़ाई नहीं लड़नी है. So like that, there should be some kind of ethics in today's world also.
Right now, after Venezuela, you see that there is no rule.
That's what I was coming to.
गुजरात के कोस्टल लाइन में 200 रुपए के लिए एक फिशरमैन ने नेवी के इंटेलिजेंस को शेयर कर दिया.
You are saving 200 rupees per day, right?
क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं आप?
I agree.
So no rules, and I think that there are no rules to what we are finding rules. Why we are finding that urge to find rules. There are no rules that we really find honest. We are not also not going to follow few of the rules.
Right.
I think we're past that point of subtlety in the war phase. Like you don't need to be subtle. That's the phase that we are living in currently. And coming to I have a question about public tools are a liability as you mentioned. But in the dev sphere, as we have seen that open source and public tools, they're often being public actually helps them. Like the most common case is Linux. If you say each and every system has its place in Linux in the production of. You take an example of cloud, you take an example of any server area. So being public actually empowered it. There are certain tools that are actually used as industry standards, all of them public, all of them open source. And they are usually preferred over the custom tools that we have, the ones that are behind the paywalls. I think that it could be that instead of treating them as liability, we could say that they form the base. But if you are going in a direction that you want, like type of protection, where the phase of war that we are in, at that point you could actually inject the custom endpoint. So instead of treating the public tools as liability, we could treat them as weapons, but the shared endpoint.
So this particular point that is written over here, it comes from a different topic than the public tools as in what we are utilizing as of in our day-to-day life. The inference here is that the first kind it says is operators principle. We are talking about cyber operators, not regular developer people. We are talking about nation-state actors right now. Just to set up the context, because I believe most of us were not in the class while I was explaining this. So this comes from a different topic. It says that why we are not able to actually detect US-based attacks, why we are not able to detect any adversaries that are beyond advanced stages. So what needs to be done here, what we are trying to explain here is that the public tools that we are utilizing, or the threat actors are utilizing, they are all signature already. People know that okay, these are malware engines, these are particular command and control servers, these are particular softwares that you utilize for hacking into other environments. So how an operator thinks to this particular problem statement is let's not utilize these known tools. let's try to create our own tools so that we can be as evasive as possible and we can operate for a longevity of operation. We utilize some custom tools. So it is not so both the areas of concern are very different. While you are looking at it from the usability point of view, we should definitely rely on open source because at least we will be seeing the code, we will be seeing the inner workings. Definitely that is something that I would also recommend. But when it comes to creating a technology and creating a tool that has to last and that should be utilized in a cyber operation, like hacking into other organizations, hacking into other countries, hackers don't go for such tools. Because it is already there are detection tools, there are people smart enough like you to hunt those tools and write signatures. So of course that's not something that we should. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you so much everybody. It was a pleasure talking to you all.